Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are. Thank you for joining me again for another live Q&A session here on my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Angela. I'm a full-time voiceover artist and audiobook narrator. My channel is dedicated to those of you just getting started out in this wonderful world of voiceover and audiobook narration. And through my channel, I share with you tips, tricks, techniques, things that I do every day in my own voiceover business. And then we get together in these weekly chats and have a conversation about a topic or two or five. You know. But if you're not new here, then you know every week we have a new poll. And today's poll is, what makes a successful voiceover business? And of course, the poll responses are a little tricky. There is a red herring in there, in case you didn't know. But it looks like none of you fell for it. So I'm very proud in that respect. The responses are, we have about 21 votes. The responses are 71% of you so far have said training, practice, and networking. 0, none of you said a great voice. 14% of you said having an online presence or profiles on, pay-to-plays or any of the, freelance marketplaces. And then 14% of you said to audition daily. I did see some of the comments saying that there should be, there should be an all of the above. And there should be, however, I'm limited to only 4 responses. So for that, I apologize. But then I couldn't have put in my red herring. So, but if you were to ask me, I would say training, practice, and networking. Because I do have a lot of people that usually start out conversations with me when they are interested in becoming a voice actor saying, I've been told I have a great voice and that I should get into voiceover. And having a great voice is great. I mean, it sort of gives you a leg up for certain aspects of voiceover. But if you have watched my channel for any length of time, that you know that I often say that voice actors represent the world, and therefore different voices of all kinds should be, looking into voiceover to represent all the many different types of voices of the world. So having a great voice is one thing, but it shouldn't be the only thing, right? Now, having an online presence and profiles being visible is definitely a good thing for the marketing aspect of your business. Absolutely, because what is a business if no one knows who you are or what you do or how to find you or how to reach you, right? So those things are definitely important. Auditioning is also important. That is your first impression, right? That is you marketing yourself directly to an individual or to a company for a specific job. But if you don't have the training, if you don't practice, if you don't network, which is also sort of marketing, but ultimately, I think the training and the skill, the know how in not only the performance itself for specific types of voiceover, how to effectively audition, and how to put your best foot forward online or on the profiles, all the different, platforms that you're positioning yourself on, right? What good are they going to do you if you're not putting your best foot forward? And that comes from training, practicing, networking with other voice actors. And when I say networking, I think more community, right? Community was probably a better choice other than networking, although networking is still, I'm going off on a sidetrack. Here we go. I do that. But training and practicing and being part of communities is, I think, going to be probably the most advantageous aspect here to further grow, build your voiceover career. None of them are really bad answers per se, but I would have to say of those four choices, training, practice, and networking for sure. Those will take you the farthest, right? I do see a lot of comments, so let's go over to the comments. And if you do have something else to add, again, I'm only limited to 4 responses. So if you have something else that you think that is necessary to add for building a successful voiceover career, then please put them in the comments. I'm sure we already have some. All right. I did see Chris was here before I even came in. How you doing, Chris? It's been a while since I've seen you. Chris said, make your own success, for that is how you succeed in any industry. Luck should never play a factor in skill, only cultivate success. Yes, and the title for this particular voiceover chat, this live chat, skill versus luck. And luck really, just to make sure we all understand what I meant by luck, not just by luck of the draw, but in the luck in having just a great voice, right? Because it obviously, I think most of us know, it takes more than just having a great voice. If you don't know how to best utilize that voice, right? What good is it? Well, you know what I mean. But it's good to hear from you, Chris. I hope you're doing all right. Thank you for throwing that quote in there. Peak Parables is here. Good morning. Good morning to you. I think the success of voiceover is in stages. First is auditions and being present equally with auditions. You improve still as you audition and interact with others. You form networks. Those networks can then lead to more success and more potential for more exclusive auditions or a reference later on, causing a potential feedback loop that takes time to build. Of course, I mean, with any business, right, it's going to take time. It's going to take time to not only get the training, the practice, and finding your tribes, right, finding the people that you can learn from and with, networking, community. But it's also going to take time to build your book of business, right? Your client base, your referrals, clients that come back to you time and time again. That stuff just takes time, right? Building a great portfolio of great demos, that comes with time. You have to give yourself time to build these things. And as we talked about in last week's live with Dwight, consistency is going to be key. Consistency in, keeping with the practice, continuing to practice, continuing to train yourself and to learn and to grow. These are all good things, even on a personal level, to continue learning and building your skill sets and yourself as a person, right? Paul Landergan is here. Good morning. Good day, Angela et al. Once again, I think the poll needs an all of the above and some luck. Yes, to an extent, you make your own luck, but some factors are outside individual control. Of course, there's always going to be what I like to call the chaos factor, right? There's always going to be something that, when life's, right? When life happens, because life definitely does life and will throw a curveball at you or two, a time or two. But if you remain consistent and diligent and you have the drive to stay on the path, right? No matter what happens, even if you have to take a couple of days off because of life and how life's. If you stay on the path and continue to, learn, grow, all of the things. I think I'm going off on a tangent. You guys know what I'm talking about, but consistency is definitely key. I'm going to squash that tangent. Dwight says, this humble minion would like to wish a good morrow to our raven-haired queen of voiceover. Raven-haired? Queen Angela, my fellow Angelinian minions. Too much. Wow. Flattery. We'll get you lots of places, Dwight, but that might be a little too much for my introvert. It's kind of screaming right now, but thank you, Dwight. I agree with Paul. All of the above is the right answer, but you can have an average or lousy sounding voice and make good VO business too. Lousy might be a little bit extreme, but would say something that is not really, outside the norm, perhaps, maybe a different sounding voice, right? It all depends on what the rights holder or the client is looking for, and that is ultimately what it is. And most of the time, we don't know what that is, right? Maybe the client really can't articulate what it is that they need or what they're looking for, or maybe they're not quite sure even what they want or what they need. Or maybe they hear your audition and you inspire them to completely go a different direction. You never really know, right? They may think they have this one particular sound in mind, but hear you and you being different, fresh, a different sound, and you might just get the job. It all depends on what that is. Dwight says, Christine's Wallace Waddles quote is also very true. It is. What you put in is the fertilizer and seeds for what you will get out. Absolutely. I mean, and that is part of the consistency, right? Is to stay on the path and to keep planting those seeds. And always, like I say, keep in mind that whatever work that you're doing, whatever little chunks of the goal that you're shooting for, that you're accomplishing each day, celebrate them, because that is the part of the positive, rewiring of the brain that we talked about last week. But those are also seeds, right? You may not reap the rewards of those seeds or planting those seeds today, tomorrow, next week, maybe even next month. But at some point they will pay off and they will result in a larger harvest, right? So the more seeds you plant, no matter how small, is going to result in a larger harvest for you at some point, right? You might see a little bit of a nice little harvest next month, and you might see an even larger one in a year, so on and so on down the line. But you have to remain consistent in planting those seeds. The tangents are coming today. I can feel them. Caesar says, oh, hi, Angela. Hi, Caesar. It's nice to see you, Caesar. This feels like another all of the above thing, but I picked training, practice, and networking as the well rounded option. To me, that means always striving to be better, always learning, and of course, always expanding. A great voice means little if it isn't heard. Constant auditioning may amount to nothing unless performance and processing is dialed. And online presence, well, if your content isn't interesting, having 100 posts won't get you anywhere. Bottom line is, always seek out ways to enhance your craft. Then spread your wings and take flight. Beautifully stated, Caesar, and that's exactly what I was getting at through all of my ramblings and tangents. That said, hello everyone. For those of you who know, I did suffer a deep personal loss beginning of this year. Again, our condolences, Caesar. But I'm doing well. It's great to hear. And we'll be back on track soon. Here's to a prosperous 2025 for all. Dylan is here. Hey, Dylan. My instinct is to say that luck played a huge part in my success. I would say no, Dylan. You worked for it. But looking back and trying to be more confident, it wasn't luck. I worked my butt off, ticked off the experience boxes, and click it. Made my own luck by networking, emailing, seeking out clients, and getting my sound dialed in. This industry is like everything else. The more work you put in, the luckier you get. Happy New Year, all. Yes. The more work you put in, the more seeds you plant, the more work you're going to eventually see. And that harvest, right? In that harvest. Oh, we just got a super chat. Hold on. Oh, thank you, Gregory. I appreciate you. Thank you. Gregory says, Happy New Tangent Year 2025. I continue to seek the best opening for marketing purposes. Good. I mean, really, just about everything I'm seeing right now is just getting online. And you already have a presence on TikTok. Are you anywhere else? I think you should be. Again, I'm not really big on a whole lot of social media platforms anyway, apart from probably TikTok. I spend way too much time on TikTok. But Instagram, I'm there, and a few other places, of course. But I see you mostly on TikTok. Thank you for the super chat, Gregory. I appreciate you. You guys are so good to me. Now going back to a couple that I had to skip past for continued messages. Corey J. VO Artist, answer to the survey E, all of the above. Yes, if I would have had the option, I definitely would have included it. Although it would have killed my ability to use that red herring in there. Rustic Hillbilly is here. Good morning, Rustic Hillbilly. I hope you are well. Tess Stalker. Afternoon, y'all, from Dracula. So funny that you still say that. It is an all answer. And yes, Dwight, that was a bit much. Maybe a little bit. But that's okay. I like his sense of humor. Dwight, where'd you just go? There you are. You sure did, Dylan. You are an inspiration to us all. He is. PSV Odyssey says, howdy, howdy, howdy. Paul in Arkansas. How you doing? Heather Leiter says, hi, Angela. Hello, Heather. Dwight Tess says, you say the darndest things. Dylan says to Dwight, your organizational skills have played a huge part in growing my business the past couple of months. And that is exactly why we had Dwight on last week, because he does. He has a really great insight into helping you to organize your processes, your desktop, just about anything I think you can think of, right? To make the most of the time that you have in a day. Tess says to Caesar, so sorry to hear. Always good to see you. Tanya says, evening all. Evening to you, Tanya. Welcome, welcome. Dylan says, I'm hungry. Red herring sounds delicious. Masonry Construction says maybe you should give 5 choices, the 5th being all of the above. And we love you, Angela. I, I would have if I had the option for a 5th. But again, I'm trying to be tricky. Caesar says, so we're all red herrings. Is that it? Huh. I mean, if you identify as a red herring, you could. Whatever. Whatever you want to do. Peak Parable says, whenever I think of someone saying you need a good voice to have a successful voiceover or a voice acting career, I'm making up my own words, I always first think of Gilbert Godfrey and his list of credits. Yeah, exactly. Different, right? Outside the box. There is a need for every voice, right? Voices like mine, voices like every one of you. There is a need for your voice somewhere, but you're not going to find where you or your voice belongs unless you get out there and experience and try. Trial and error, reaching out to people, making connections, exploring and finding those little niches that need a voice like yours. And when you find that niche, you want to make sure that you have the training and the know-how to make that best first impression with your audition, your demo, your sample, whatever it is that you're sending to the client, right? So that goes back to the training, practicing, and networking. Exactly. Lisa. Hey, how you doing, Lisa? Good morning, everyone, from sunny, cold Alberta. Caesar says to Peak Parable, say, did you know he did a read of 50 Shades of Grey? Gilbert Godfrey? Oh, yes, I think he did. I think there's been a handful of celebrities that have tried their hand at reading sections of 50 Shades. Oh, boy. Mark, I know you told me how to pronounce your last name once. Meaners? Was it Meaners or Miners? I can't remember. I'm so sorry. I'm bad with names. Good morning from sunny Nicaragua. And he brought the donuts. I don't know. I think we're still going to have to share, though. I don't know if that's going to be enough. Dwight says to Dylan, while I have given you some direction, it is you that does the work and the reason for your success. It is your stick to it and hard work that is what is elevating your VO biz. Yes. I don't think you could ever attribute success to luck. Perhaps being in the right place at the right time would be the closest to that, I would think. But even in that, being in the right place at the right time, you still had to have sort of a direction that you took, right? You made a decision based on something that you learned, something, a new passion, whatever it was, but it was a decision that you made to be in that place, right? So I don't even know if I don't know if any of it's luck. I think it's just all work and putting in the time and the effort to learn about something that you want to do, right? Does that make sense? Erica Carr says, Angela, what's the best way to reach you? I left you a message recently in your chat box on your site. Interesting. I'll double check. I'm usually pretty good about responding to messages on my website. But I will double check. That's usually the best way to reach me. Or hear live. Or commenting on a video. I mean, I'm pretty good at keeping on top of those. But I am one person, so bear with me. It might go a little bit of time before I get to it, but I'm usually pretty good about that. Ben, hey Ben, I reject all of these and choose all the above. Good morning to you in chat. Peak Parable says, as much as I shake my head on 50 Shades of Grey, what little romance there is, and that is the vibe that killed with his rendition. The vibe is killed with his rendition. I just think of Iago trying to woo someone and failing. I know that's all I hear when I hear his voice now, too. I mean, I know Gilbert Gottfried. I've seen him many, many times before my son was born and before I was exposed to the character Iago in Aladdin. But that's all I hear is Iago when I hear his voice. Yeah. I'm with you. Dwight says another thing that adds to your success is solid, not necessarily expensive technical equipment and tools. Mics, audio interfaces, DAW, etc., plus the knowledge on how to use it effectively. Yes, that I think in my head I sort of lumped that in with the training, practice, and networking because, I couldn't really break it down that far, perhaps. But gear is definitely going to help you, having the right gear. But don't get too stuck on what kind of gear to get. It's more important that you just go, right? Because you can always upgrade your gear later, right? Because if you think about it this way, in the very beginning, you're not going to be recording commercials for Best Buy or for the NFL or anything like that in the very beginning. Because, I mean, even if you have a natural talent, you still need training and practice to hone that, right? To understand how to do a commercial read effectively and so on and so forth. So your gear in the very beginning doesn't need to be studio quality. I mean, if you want to go out and get the stuff, do it. Research what's going to be best for your voice and your space and go out and get it, if you want to. But you don't have to. I didn't. I know a lot of people didn't. They just kind of got something, a USB mic and started it. I think that's a better way to go anyway, just to see if this is something that you can do, that you can sustain. Because once you try something that you want to do and then you discover, oh, I can't, maybe I don't have the time or I don't have the capability. I don't have, the breath control or, I won't be able to narrate for hours on end, whatever it is. But that way you have invested not so much, into it at that point. And then if you do decide this is something you want to do, you can always upgrade and invest in better equipment later. That's just my personal opinion, but that's how I see it. Went MIA, Sally said, and now I am late. Maple bars and cherry fritters for all. I love cherry fritters. They're probably like one of the best or one of the worst things that you could eat. One of the worst things to put in your body, but oh my God, they're so good. I love cherry fritters. And maple bars. I love the maple bars. I like the way you think, Sally. My cup of tea 101 says, morning, y'all. Brought donuts. Good. Hope you brought enough for everybody. There's 49 people here. I hope you're willing to share. Brian's here. Hey, Brian. Howdy, y'all. I don't like that you have to pick just one for this. Aha. I think it's all but the social media. Although you can make a successful business with it. Oh, God, yes. Social media is one of the best places to market yourself. A, because it's free. B, all it costs you is just a little bit of time. And again, remember, the social media content that you're posting doesn't have to be all about voiceover or audiobooks. It's better if you if you include a little bit of content about you as a person, your personal life. You don't have to get too personal. But, you could be out walking the dog. You can be out, talking about your favorite restaurant. It doesn't all have to be about voiceover or audiobooks. Your content. It's usually a question I get a lot too. Lara says, hello, loves. Hello to you. I hope it's Lara. I hope I'm saying that right. I want to be an artist for VO, but my laptop hard drive failed, and now I can't really record well. That really stinks. Do you have an external hard drive you could use, perhaps? Perhaps? Yeah, I don't really know a way around that without having to go get a whole new computer. Because you kind of need one of those to run all of the apps and, obvious reasons. That stinks. Well, I'm hoping that can get sorted out for you. Erica, you're still in France. So jealous. So jealous. Been seeing all of your posts. I'm glad you're having a good time. Miss you too. Hope you're having a great time. Looks like you are. Oh goodness, sorry Tanya. Hold on, we got another super chat. Sean Lester. Hey Sean. Thank you for the super chat. Sean says, do you think the biggest obstacle to success is waiting until I am good enough and or I need the good gear? I got gigs when I really sucked and had cheap stuff. Perhaps the key is the want to. I think that is the biggest or one of the biggest obstacles, because the imposter syndrome that we all face, I think, as human beings, can really interfere with your success, especially in the beginning when you're still very unsure of what you can offer, what you're doing, what you need. There's still so much that, there's so much in your head that you're telling yourself, well, I need this gear, I need this training, I want to do this, maybe I should try that. Do I really need this? There's just so much going on in your head. And sometimes it's easier just to kind of lean back into the comfortable position of, well, maybe I'm just not good enough to do it. Should I even not bother to do this, right? And it's overcoming that challenge. I don't even like to say obstacle. That challenge is typically the hardest part, I think, for people. I'm one of those charge ahead people. Sometimes I charge ahead without thinking things through all the way, and I think that's kind of what helped me to get past that challenge. But I do see a lot of people that get stuck in that. And in that same stage is where we tend to usually get stuck in the procrastinating stage, right? Because that's also a comfortable position. Excuse me. Because it's more comfortable just to withdraw yourself instead of moving forward. Because moving forward is scary. Moving forward is uncomfortable. Moving forward is unfamiliar, right? So we tend to just sit back in that comfortable place of, well, maybe I shouldn't, or maybe I need to keep learning on this thing, or maybe I need to save up for this gear, or maybe I need this microphone before I can move forward. It's really easy to get stuck in that stage and just revert to what is comfortable. So I think that is one of the largest obstacles. And what is going to move you forward if you're stuck in that stage, the procrastinating stage, or that comfortable place of withdrawal, is going to be different for everyone. But I think, again, another thing that we talk about a lot here on my channel is the why. Your why for wanting to do this in the first place, it has to be strong. It has to be more than just to make money fast, or it has to be more than just maybe, freedom, in your work schedule or work-life balance or all of those things. You have to have probably a couple of different whys, right? Like a passion for wanting to do this anyway, and then maybe another strong why. But it's going to be different for everyone. Everyone's got a different reason and purpose. A definition of success, that place called there, when you get there, right? So it's going to be different for everyone, but it is going to be difficult to move through for most of us. I feel like I'm just tangenting, going off on tangents. You guys know. Oh boy, okay. I'm stopping that right now. But I think you guys know what I'm talking about. And I got to find where I left off. Was Tanya. Here we go. Tanya's here. Hey, Tanya. I'm looking forward to a great 2025 voiceover year. I created my business goals list. Good. I think that's a good start, especially at the beginning of the year, is just to, again, like we said last week, just to brain dump, right? Everything that you want to do for the year, just dump it all out on a piece of paper and then start to kind of pick your goals out from it. And then list those goals in order of priority You're going to have large goals, mid-range goals, and then small goals. And then you might even need to break down those larger goals into mid-range and smaller goals, right? And then prioritize which of those you can get done realistically first, so on down the line. So the beginning of the year is a great time to do that, Tanya. Erica says, I feel like I'm learning all the time. It's no single thing. Coaching, workshops, networking, auditioning, practicing. Audiobooks help greatly for mic technique and cold reading. You never really stop learning, right? There's always, even for me, 6.5 years later, there's still always something new that I learn or pick up almost every day. You never stop learning. Peak Parable says, this may be outside the scope of this convo. It's okay. It happens all the time. However, outside ACX and other freelance websites, have you gone after traditional publisher rosters and best way to approach to ask of opening find info? Traditional publisher rosters. I want to say, oh, yes, I have. There's Ahab, and there's another one. It'll come to me when I'm in the middle of a tangent. But realistically, all you would need to do, there's a couple of different ways to go about this. If you want to be on a roster, is to start Googling audiobook publishers, right? I think the last time I did that, I came up with, there was like 3 or 4 dozen of them, large to small. Every one of them is going to have a different sort of prerequisite for them allowing you on their roster or welcoming you to their roster, or they may not even have like an open where you can reach out to them and send them your demo. They might want to source their own talent. I feel a tangent coming, but that could be like a good 20 minutes. So basically, Google search some different publishers and reach out to them, or look around their website to see if they're welcoming new talent. And they might even outline what it is that they want to see from you before you can apply, right? It'll be made obvious to you. Another way to find yourself on the rosters of publishers is social media, right? I know a handful of narrators who have been offered positions or places on rosters just from being visible on social media, namely TikTok, right? They were found on TikTok and now they are on several different rosters just from being visible on social media. Dwight says to Tanya, you are another VO business person that I truly admire. You are consistent and are motivated. You continue to impress me daily. Keep it up. I love you guys in my platinum group. So loving and warm. So helpful. Peak Parable says, Blackstone Audio, Tor, Penguin. Yes, there are. I'm telling you, the last time I looked, there was like 3 or 4 dozen of them. There's lots of them. George says, hi, Angela and folks. Happy New Year. Help and knowledge from experienced pros like you are a big help and also provide leverage for VO. Thanks to you all. Best wishes. Yes, the community here is unlike any other I've been part of. It's a great community. The voiceover community, fantastic people. Peak Parable says, I meant to say publishers like, yes, I'm with you. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Lamar Harmon says red herring, but yeah, it's more red herring versus raven-haired Dwight. I don't know how many ravens you see with my color hair. Moving on. Tanya says, yes, Dwight has helped me so much in my business. He's helped a lot of people. BC English says, I am late to the party, so I brought pancakes. Sorry, no. Hey, I'm not going to turn down pancakes. I don't know anyone that would turn down pancakes. I love it. Lele is here. Hey, Lele. Angela, I got another gig from the same buyer on Fiverr. They even threw a tip my way. Nice. Gaining some confidence through this. I am happy with how it has progressed so far. Trial and error. Yes. Good for you. Get it. Dwight says, I teach organizational skills for all the process from recording to scheduling to prioritizing to storage because it can all be overwhelming to those people whom do not have great executive skills. Absolutely. I mean, I'm still learning new things all the time, right? When it comes to organization. Mark Miners. Gracias. Hopefully I'll remember. Dwight says the executive processing functionality comes naturally to some and is non-existent in others. I teach how to simplify that which is complex and how to be consistent while making good habits. As the Navy SEALs say, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. That said, take your time in the right places and it will save you time in the big picture. Right, streamlining your processes. And if you are someone like me who thrives in organized chaos, then, I mean, even some of those processes are streamlined. And it took me a while to figure out the best way to streamline those processes. But if you have someone like Dwight in your corner who can sort of maybe guide or direct, that way you're spending a whole less amount of time or a whole lot less time on the small little minutia of the day. And you could focus more on building your voiceover business. I mean, even the smallest steps can have the greatest reward in the long run. And organization is definitely something to not overlook. I think I missed a couple. Hold on. Caesar says technical equipment? I don't know anything about that. You are our technical equipment guru. Lara says, I'm new to wanting to get into VO, but I don't have the appropriate equipment, unfortunately. You also want to end that sentence with yet. Always finish your statements like that. That could be sort of negative because you know what I say. No stinking thinking. There's no stinking thinking here. So don't limit yourself by saying these things. You may not have it now. You don't have it yet, right? You will at some point. Yet. Don't limit yourself. Dylan says, Caesar, if you don't know anything about technical equipment, we're both screwed. You are my equipment guy. Dwight says, geez, Caesar, I wish you understood your gear better. Tanya says, oh gosh, cherry fritters. My mouth is watering now. Wish I wasn't doing sugar-free right now. Could they even do a sugar-free cherry fritter? I don't think there's any way you could do a sugar-free cherry fritter. Caesar says to Dwight, my wife tells me the same thing. Gregory says, my USB mic has been working for me so far. I have a Sennheiser mic, but haven't been able to afford getting the interface. One of my goals in 2025. Lara says, I have a Chromebook, and that's all I have right now. So far. Sally says, my biggest obstacle right now is that I don't know how to chat room. So when I go on the Discord, my brain goes blank and my questions stop making sense. I often have that issue. When I know what I want to say, but it may come out wrong if I'm overthinking. I think that's usually my problem, is that I overthink too much. I overthink like 3 steps ahead and whatever I'm going to say, right? And that's just the way my brain works. So I often come out sounding probably like a moron just because my brain is processing and thinking about like possible outcomes to what I'm saying as I'm saying it. I don't know. But I mean, I can relate, but your best bet is just to like, verbally vomit somebody will pick up what you're trying to say, right? Just get out your question. Even if you think it doesn't make sense, it might make perfect sense to whoever it is that you're asking it of. They might go, oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Even if it's a little bit on the verbose side, right? There's way too many words. I mean, someone else is still going to pick up what you're trying to ask. So don't overthink it. Don't be an overthinker like me. My cup of tea says, one of my 2025 goals is equipment upgrade once I am able to book several jobs. I think it is a decent incentive, for sure. But got to get there first. I'm trying to celebrate each step I make. Good. Good. Positive lenses, people. We're looking at life through positive lenses. Alex says, fortunately, a computer doesn't have to cost a lot. Granted, I was lucky, but I got my 2013 MacBook Pro for $30 on an online auction. Lots of used but usable stuff out there. Where there is a will, there is a way. You just have to find it. Sally says, which I suppose is procrastinating. Slacker Dan, the internet slacker. I love that. I find not rejections for my auditions are the most difficult, and I have trouble focusing on things for long if they don't hold my interest. I can definitely relate to that, but and for those of you that are seeing rejection, keep in mind that if you do get a lot of rejections for auditions, don't take it personally. Just don't take it personally. Just like any other sales type business, which this is, because we're offering a service for money, so it's sales. You can expect about a 10% return. That's considered a good return on your time investment for marketing purposes, right? For auditions, because that's a form of marketing. It is. If you are just auditioning, and you're not seeing any results, period, and you've done maybe 200 of them or something, like a large number, and haven't won any jobs, you might want to consider getting your audio quality checked. You might need to, if you're part of a workshop like mine, like my Platinum group on my website, or if you're in another like Facebook group or a mastermind, you're in a community of some sort that will allow you to share demos for feedback from the group, do that. There could be something in your audio quality that's turning off your clients, right? But in most cases, if you've already gone through that and all of that is good, right? If you've already gotten some kind of training, you already have an idea of how auditions should be sent, in terms of formatting and sound quality and all those things. Keep in mind that you just might not be the voice for the client. Because again, we're taking almost an educated shot in the dark as to what it is they're looking for. And the client, again, may not even be totally sure about what they want, right? So even if they're asking for a tone, a voice, like yours that matches yours, and you think you have a pretty good shot at, being what they need, and you submit an audition and then you get a rejection, that doesn't mean that you stink. It doesn't mean that your quality sucks. More often than not, it's just you weren't the voice they were looking for. Maybe they were looking for something a little bit more gritty. Maybe they were looking for something a little bit more higher pitched or faster or nasally or whatever it was. So don't take it personally. Another way of looking at it is rejection is redirection, right? Another reason that you didn't get that job is that you were meant for something else, right? You could look at it that way too. Just don't take rejection as, a personal attack on you. It just means you weren't the voice they were looking for. Move on, right? Keep auditioning. You will eventually cross paths with that client that is looking for your voice. And maybe that other job would have held you back from a better one. You never know. Tangent City. Lamar Harmon says, Aries action. Y'all are Chargers ahead. We are. We totally are. Keith Clark says hello. Hello, Keith. Welcome, welcome. Caesar says to Sally, if you need any help pushing that out, try messaging one of the more active members directly. I'm sure they can help you breathe easy through the process. Yes, I know. I'm making childbirth puns. Sally says, hee hee, thank you, Caesar. I will grab a hand and push through. Voiceover Van Deen, long time no see. How you been? Happy New Year to the Tangent crew from a cold and icy northeast UK. JCCBCL AOL. It's a tongue twister. Happy New Year, Angela. Happy New Year to you. Hope you're doing well. Dwight says, Red Raven, I'm a VO artist. What do I know about colors? I mean, there's a big difference between reddish and blackish. Sally says, ooh, Dwight, I am coming for your skills teaching. My brain is run by a fire squirrel on Red Bull. That's a visual. Dwight says, I find that most people are somewhere in the middle with their executive functioning abilities. So most people I teach often take on bits and pieces of what I teach to enhance their own methodologies. Yeah, and that's why we always say to learn from everybody that's offering advice, right? If there's any kind of training online, I mean, listen to all of it. You know, there's not just me on YouTube. There's dozens of other people offering advice on YouTube and all other social media platforms for that matter. Listen to them all because there might be a little nugget, you know, in something they say that just clicks in place, you know, for you in what you needed. It could be the thing that you needed to kind of make something work for you so you can move forward. You know, just like Dwight was saying with little bits and pieces, you know, in what he teaches. My cup of tea says, Dwight, do you do one-on-one for folks or more of a lecture TED Talk thing? Dwight says, Sally, tell us your Discord name and we'll reach out to you if you do not know how to reach out to us, assuming you do not mind sharing info. I'm not going to share that here on YouTube. If you're in the chat, you could probably see it. But Masonry says, Lara, with a Chromebook, you could still use software like Descript, which has a free version and processing is in the cloud. There is always a way. Just do it. There you go. Dwight says, to my cup of tea, yes, that is what I do. Most one-on-one works best. That said, I have been doing some classes that get you introduced to concepts and how-tos, but like most videos, they are too high level. And speaking of which, I was told that I don't say this enough. I do mentoring too. If you want a 30-minute session with me to pick my brain about something, I don't know, your Fiverr profile or, you know, anything that you're curious about. If you just want, 30 minutes of my time to throw a bunch of questions at me, I offer that too. You can find that on my website on the one-on-one page, or a complete program where you meet with me once a week or once a month, however you want to do it. You know, my introvert in me doesn't like tooting my own horn, but I do. I offer that as well. Erica says, rejection is part of the gig. Even the most seasoned VOs get rejected all the time. Submit it and let it go. But yes, getting honest feedback is essential. And not every client is going to give you feedback. When you submit an audition, don't sit and wait for a response or for feedback. You may not get it. You may get it. And it's awesome when clients do that. When rights holders, when you're auditioning for an audiobook and a rights holder will not only get back to you with perhaps an offer or maybe even a rejection, but then they also will give you feedback on your audition. That's gold, but that's not common. That is not typical, right? I'm starting to see more and more of that, which is fantastic. I love it, but it's not typical. So when you submit an audition, don't wait on a response and don't wait on feedback. Just audition, audition, audition. Just keep auditioning, right? Don't be worried about if you get several jobs back to back to back. That's what you want to do. right? Don't worry about having too much work. You just schedule them appropriately, right? Cross that bridge when you come to it. But keep auditioning. Don't sit back and wait for a response or feedback on your audition. Just audition more. That's the best advice I could give you about auditioning. Submit it, like Erica said. Submit it and let it go. Lamar says, rejection sensitivity is a real disorder. It totally is. It totally is. Can cause one to wallow in the self-pity. Which is why I have to stress this a lot, that it's not personal. And I know that even when I say that, it's hard for someone just to tell you that and go, okay, I feel so much better about that now. It's still something that strikes me, and I totally get that. I totally get that. And overcoming that, of course, is going to be different for everyone. I'm not quite, I'm not a therapist. I can't go into that tangent, but I do know that rejection sensitivity is definitely a real thing. VO by Tony says, I agree, Erica. My success rate with auditions is about 15-1. That's pretty good, and consider myself fortunate. Dwight says to Sally, I just added you as a friend. Dwight says Angela is an excellent coach and also someone to emulate. Seriously, she has locked it down from an organic ground-up process. Kudos. Oh, thank you, Dwight. You're such a sweetheart. My cup of tea says to Dwight, just sent you a Discord message. Thank you. Dwight then says, don't forget to like, follow, and share this live. It helps the algorithms. Yes, we have to feed the algo beast. Help me feed the algo god. And hit all the buttons, do all the things. I appreciate you, Dwight. Erica says, I meant feedback from coaches or groups, like your platinum group. Aha. Yes, getting feedback from, again, if you're in Facebook groups, a workshop like mine, masterminds, if you have a coach or some kind of peer group that you're a part of and they allow you to share demos for feedback, take advantage of that, right? Take advantage of that. It'd be silly not to. It'd be super silly not to. Even if you feel confident in your sound and in your performance, like your room's sound, even if you feel confident in everything that you are putting forward in an audition, still get feedback. Because you may not know if you have bad habits. You may not know that there's a subtle echo. You may not realize that you're talking into the wrong side of the microphone. You may not know these things because you just get used to that sound. When you hear your own voice in your DAW, when you're listening to the playback, you're just like, oh yeah, that sounds great. You grow accustomed to that sound, not realizing that there's something in there that could potentially keep you from getting a job. So even if you feel confident in your sound, still get feedback from time to time, especially when you get new gear or you change something in your studio. I mean, take advantage of that. That's free help, and that kind of help is gold, because that could mean the difference between you getting a job and not getting a job, right? And toot away, Angela. Oh boy, I know Caesar's probably typing away something right now. Dwight says to VO by Tony, that is a great success ration for auditions. FYI, the norm for beginning artist is 1 out of 50. Don't be discouraged, people. Maddie Shiner says, I just joined onto the Facebook group and am excited to learn more about narrating audiobooks. I can't join much on Tuesdays, but I will when I can. I appreciate that. If you can't join live on these chats on Tuesdays at 12 p.m. EST, just know they are recorded. So if you want to, be on Team Replay and watch them later at your convenience, you can definitely do that. And then these live chats are also converted into podcasts, which are on any podcast platform that you listen to, and also here on YouTube, because now YouTube is doing podcasts as well. My podcast is She Lancer, Mom Entrepreneur with voiceover Angela. I think I have links to it down below in the description. There's all kinds of stuff in the description below. Oh, you've been listening to them on Spotify? Good. Thank you. Yeah, people listen in different ways, so I try to, provide you guys with all the different options. I don't know what's happening with my voice right now, but thank you all. To my cup of tea says thank you all. Absolutely. Okay, you guys, if there's anything that you guys want to talk about in upcoming Tuesday chats, then put that in the comments. I'm always open. I mean, I do this for you guys. I host these for you. So if there's something that you want to learn more about, get multiple perspectives on, get some insight on, and there are no stupid questions. Don't ever feel like you're asking a dumb question, because there are none. And there could be several other people that are asking the same question. So you could be solving someone else's problem by asking your question. So just ask it, and maybe we can talk about it. Okay, so I'm going to try to end this stream. Sometimes the button works, sometimes it doesn't, but I will be here next Tuesday, same bat time, same bat channel. And I hope you guys have a fantastic week. And my Platinum group, I'll see you guys on Thursday. So see you later. Let's see if I can end this. Bye.